I want to tell you a secret. It's kind of not a secret, but I'm going to tell it like it's a secret. So I have a soft spot for strong women. I'm going to tell you some of the strong women that I like love, like out in the public eye. Freda Kahlo, Frances McDormand, Indra Nooyi, and just in case you want somebody who's even more accessible, that's my next guest. Amy Horner, who has a content capsule called Horner's Corner, is here with us today. And I am so thrilled. I picked you to come on this live for so many reasons, obviously, to talk about change, because that's the porcupine that we're addressing. But one of the things that I think is important for people to know about you that you're not going to say for yourself, but others people say when you're not in the room, thank you, Gary Vee, is that you're not just a strong woman, you help strengthen other women. And you are a diehard advocate for supporting women, lifting them up, myself included. And you're a huge giver, even snacks that I haven't even registered for because it's been so crazy. But this is a huge thing. And one of the things that we were talking about right before we got on here was that you and I share something called a low level of tolerance for a lot of the complaining and a lot of the kind of drama that can come with, let's just say, you know, the scarcity mindset, the fear-based thinking when it comes to change. So Amy Horner, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. And if you're available, you could come introduce me with every room that I walk in. That was incredible. And I'm honored and humbled and good morning to everyone that's with us.
Yeah, we got some peeps. We got some peeps. We got Claudia Paradise. Good morning, all from New York City. We've got Ashley Jones Lee, one of my faves, and then there's Kelly. Truer words never spoken. Amy rises up all of those around her. Me as well. Thank you so much. And yay, wonderful to see you. Awesome, Angie Bush. Thank you. So one of the questions that I wanted to kick us off with was, Amy, of all the people out there, why are you talking about the porcupine of change? Why are you uniquely qualified for this?
Well, first of all, I love change and I live in change. I think we all live in change, but not a lot of people are going to come straight out and say they love change. I think most people will actually say the opposite, or they want to resist change, which makes me sad because I really believe in a lot of people that's not true. I think people are taught to not like change. I think the first time that change happens and it doesn't go perfectly for them, they dig their heels in and say, never again. I'm going to stay just as this is. I'm going to leave this just as it is. And there's really nothing more dangerous for your health, your happiness, and your success than staying as is. And so that's really the reason I sit in change all the time. I talk about change. I love and embrace change. It's not a porcupine for me, but I do acknowledge and realize it's a porcupine for a lot of other people.
Yes. And so when you say that we were taught to dislike change, explain more what that means. Like, who's teaching us that? Or are we teaching ourselves? It's not like I'm going to like hate change school.
Sure, absolutely. And I thankfully can't see the chat because those of you who know me well know I get distracted very easily, but Lauren can see the chat. And so my question is, if you think about the last time you went to a park or you went to the beach or you went to a public swimming pool, what are the kids doing, right? What are the kids under the age of 10 doing? Everybody knows what they're doing. We've all been in this situation before. What are the adults doing in response to the kids? Be quiet, slow down. You're going to hurt yourself. Don't scream and yell. Don't climb up there. Don't do whatever crazy thing it is you're doing to push your boundaries, to learn something new, to see if you can, I don't know, swing as high as you possibly can on the swing set. Stay conservative, stay quiet, stay safe. Don't push the boundaries, right? That is what is taught. You flip the switch on that to Someone gets a new job. They're coming to work for you for the first day. They are so excited. And during the first week, sometimes even on the first day, and unfortunately, sometimes in the first hour, they come into our organization. We tell them all the things we do and why we do it. We say, no, you have to do it this way. And we instantly take the air out of somebody's sails who is coming in to innovate and do new things. And we give them the standard issue. We spend hours, Lauren, explaining to people why we do things the way that we do. And what are the parents, right? What are the adults? And what are the employers doing? Well, they're making life easier for them.
Sure.
They're the ones that have to clean up the mess, spend the money, innovate, change things. But you're really stifling the enjoyment of change for others. And I think we don't realize how strong that message is in the way that we give it out.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. I love this part. All right. So here I am. I'm in this big organization. I have processes and procedures, and I got to get everyone on the same page because after all, we're scaling a business and we can't have these renegades and mavericks running all over the place. So
yeah,
like, what do you do with that? Right? Because if everyone is doing their thing and wanting to innovate in their own way, and many of you in the chat are like, I innovate. I'm here to, catalyze change. I want to do all this. And then at some point you're in an organization or, even interviewing, and you no one says you have to wait until the end to ask your questions. No one says you can't write a job description. No one says that you have to show up at your interview after, blowing out your hair and looking this corporate part. I fell into it, that's for sure. So how do you have some level of decorum and at the same time, everyone trying to exercise a level of change so that they can impart their own stake in the ground?
I'm a big fan of the incubator idea, allowing people to think of a change or an innovation, no matter how crazy it might be. You have a Post-it on your desk. I know it, right? What would No Limits Lauren do? Is it something along those lines? If I had no limits.
What would an outrageous version of Lauren do?
Yes.
It's like my coach told me to write this down, and I followed the rules, and I did something for once.
Right. So if you had no limit and if you had no boundary, how would you create and how would you innovate? And if you think of some of the best innovations and the biggest changes that have happened in our life in the last, let's say 23 years, let's just stick a stake in the year 2000. It has come from people, collaborative groups of people, and then turned into organizations where they felt there were no limits, where they didn't fear change, where they weren't worried about tripping and falling and scraping their knee on the side of the pool deck. That is where that incubator mentality can come from in a firm. And I do acknowledge that scaling does take coordination and everyone rowing in the same direction, but let the people that work for you and work around you come up with the style of how you're going to row.
Okay. So is this message for corporate?
Yeah.
Right? Like corporate, like get your crap together or get your shit together and allow people a little bit of, air to come up with these ideas, incubator modality. But what about for the people that are watching right here?
Yep.
That are they supposed to create their own internal incubator? How does this work? Explain to me how this kind of gets wrapped up when, let's just say, you're in transition.
Sure.
Or you are, going through a really big change. I'm about to go through a big change, and I'm going to be calling you day and night. I'm going to be leaving city life and moving to Asheville, North Carolina. Like people are like making jokes with me. They're like, "Are you going to milk cows?" I mean, maybe, but how do you, as this person, live through these changes and not pull your hair out?
Right. People are so helpful, right? That they want to make negative remarks about anything that we're really enthused about. And that's just kind of the delightfulness of, if it's scary for them, it must be scary for you. And I think turning anything into a positive is the right place to start as a person. Every change that comes at you, instead of receiving it as this is horrible, how am I going to deal with this? Oh, these people, they don't know what they're doing. Flip it on its ear. Wow, this is an amazing opportunity for me to learn something, for me to do something different, for you, Lauren, not to have to hear sirens every morning at 2 a.m. as the ambulance is rushing by your house. There will be new noises that are going to keep you up at 2 a.m. If you've never heard a fox scream, get ready for it. It is interesting.
I'm going to see bears.
Taking on that change and being excited, right? Remembering why you liked something different, right? Human beings love change.
Right. So that's the lie that we've been told, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
We're told both messages.
Yes.
Fear change, embrace change, change or die, you know.
Progress or perish.
These kind of paradoxical, sometimes they're like I feel like they're like those fighting fish, you know, that are in one of those like little fish tanks. Mm-hmm. They're like, and like trying to get at each other's throats because it's, and what we talked about earlier, change isn't going to evaporate.
No. It's going to come faster and faster.
Here we are. I agree with Amy Horner that we need to practice change all the time. Like in an incubator in the workplace, learning to innovate on your job and reinventing yourself is a habit. That's why she wrote the book, Starting from Scratch.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And here it is. Research shows that on average, we change 12 times in our lives. How is that we still fear it? Ooh, yeah. I gotta better understand what those changes are, because I also ask people a lot, how many more turns do you think that you have in your career?
Right.
Because this is, for the most part, for most people I talk to anyway, they still think that they have 3, 5, sometimes 7 more iterations of themselves.
Yeah. And we should have more iterations of ourselves. And just like anything else, it's a muscle. And if you don't work that muscle, it gets weaker, right? So if you look at change and you say, I love this, I'm going to embrace it, I'm going to get better at it, like Oz just said, if you embrace that instigational change mentality, right? If you are starting it, it's going to become more natural to you.
Okay, I want to just kind of go a little bit deeper in that.
Let's do it.
If you don't practice it, the muscle gets weaker, right? And so give us, for today, 222-2023, right? Today, some ideas, tips, tricks, thoughts of 2-3 things that we could do to work the change muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say look at anything around you. Look at anything that is rote or routine. Look at something that you've done the same way for a long period of time. If you're looking at something personal, there are so many ways that we can change as people. Look at something that maybe is not done in the most efficient manner, and take a step back from it and see how you can change it.
Okay, right? So I'm going to put you on the spot. What change are you going to make today? Give me an example of something that you're going to sign up for.
Something I'm going to sign up for today. So I have a new piece of software that I'm dying to use, and I downloaded it yesterday. I'm really excited about it. It is a talk to text software, but it's not then giving you a video recording. It's actually typing out your texts. So I do a lot of writing. If you follow Horner's Corner on LinkedIn, you see I put out a lot of articles. I put out a lot of blog posts. I'm also currently in school for my doctorate, which means I'm writing long text and long papers, and that takes some time. And so when I'm driving, when I'm walking, when I'm running, I want to be able to talk to my phone and have it write out text that I can then turn that into text to myself so that I can elaborate on those thoughts. So that's a change I'm making today, because inefficient me up until this week was trying to text myself, don't tell the authorities, text myself when driving. That's a really bad idea. I know that we're live, but you can't erase that, but, or forgetting things or stopping to pull over on the side of the road to jot something down. Did it work? Sure. Is there a more efficient and change oriented way for me to look at this? Yes.
Okay.
Did it, even me, take me a while to come up with this solution? It may have. But that's a change I'm incorporating this week. And I'm incredibly excited about it because I know it's going to be better
Oh my
than
God, it's
what I've
gonna
done before.
Oh, you're gonna love it. So just to follow through in the Horner's Corner spirit,
Yep.
I'm gonna invite everyone who is in this live right now to put the one thing. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you use a different shampoo today. Put something that you're going to do differently and change and make a change for today in the chat so that we can support you and you can hold yourself accountable. Because half the time it's just like we chicken out.
I love it. And Lauren now is following true Horner's Corner protocol. And I don't even know if you realized it. This is accountability, right? So accountability is absolutely critical in change, in goal setting, in moving forward. Write it down. If you have to put a Post-it note on your screen like Lauren has, do that. If you need an accountability buddy, you can tell either of us. We might hound you relentlessly until you do whatever change it is that you're committing to in the chat. I'm so happy I can't see the chat right now.
Well, ooh, look at this, Kim Curran. Buy QuickBooks and get my business expenses up to speed. I love it. And of course, I love accountability. I want to go back to Robin's quote. Yep. If we were prone to get others' opinions about changes we're considering, think of this. There are people in your circle who say, go for it. And people who will say, how can you even think of doing that? Yes. If you're keen on changing, call the first group. You know who they are. Yeah. So I think that's really important. You know, in a really kind of crazy way, I used to tell myself, actually, it was Claudia Paradise who's on this thread right now. She would say, Lauren, why are you going to the hardware store to buy milk? You know, go where you know that you're going to help to facilitate that change, right? Don't find the people that are either high risk and change resistant, because you're just going to only reinforce that bias.
I agree. Don't go see the speaker who's going to stand in front of the room and say, you know what, you as a human being, you're not supposed to like change, because now you're validated, right? Now you're conditioned. You're sitting there like, see, I'm not supposed to enjoy this. This person standing up in front with the microphone as an authority. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you.
Blowing up. I'm loving this. Denise, drink more decaf coffee. Asha, get more sleep. Get into bed by 10 o'clock at least 3 times a week. That's a huge one. Prepare from my FinOps certification. Mm-hmm. Ashley, schedule more recharge breaks throughout the day. This is huge. Spend 30 minutes reading articles versus scrolling LinkedIn, guilty as charged. Mm-hmm. Oranges at the hardware store. Woohoo! Years of that. She's my bestie. Exercise 4 to 5 times a week. That's a non-negotiable for me too. I tell you, oh my God, I'm a mess with that. Practice piano. I want to cry. 15 minutes 2 times per day. I love the micro breaks. And then create a block schedule for the week to better use all of my time. Look at this change you are capitalizing right here. Intentionally add margin into my schedule. Whew, that's a great one. And then this one, read my book tonight instead of staying up late watching Netflix. Yeah, another one that I'm like, I get trapped too. So I have to break a lot of cycles. I have to like put wheels in motions, that habit stacking that our friend James.
I love that. And those ones that you showed, all positive changes, all things that the people who type those in, you want to do that. And so I would say, how does that feel? It probably feels empowering, energizing. You're excited to make these changes. In some cases, you know you need to make them, but maybe you've put them off for a little while. Can you take that energy, right? Can you take that I'm the one starting the change momentum, and can you apply that to when change comes at you? Can you receive change with the same energy that you instigate change? Right. That's the mind switch.
Right. Right. And so let's just talk about some of the practicality that is happening in our world with respect to change, because I put up a post yesterday on LinkedIn talking about the churn rate of the C-suite.
Yes.
You introduced this idea of how much software is being encouraged for us to understand, especially when we're with a new company. But I mean, I know that when I started Portfolio Rocket, I started counting. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've learned 27 different software tools in a month. When did I ever do that?
Yeah.
And there's no, help desk. So
figure it out, right?
Figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. I was in a conversation with someone last week, and they were talking about the pace of change and they were talking about over the last 100 years. So if you think, 1923, the pace of change over a decade, they were suggesting that this is now the pace of change we feel in a 12-month period, right? That because of technology and because of speed and because the world is a more connected place, we can advance more quickly in less time, same thing, than we could 100 years ago. I don't know anything about 100 years ago, but I can think back on my lifetime. And we had talked about this earlier. In the last 5 years, think about how many changes have come at every single one of us. If you think about the 15 years prior, can you say with certainty that that same time period, you probably had the same amount of change? I know for me personally, I can almost definitively say that that is an accurate statement. Change is going to continue to get faster. Organizations, on average, an organization is going to use 50 to 100 pieces of software in order to successfully run its business and do the thing it needs to do. Not every single one of you is going to have to learn them all, but you're going to have to learn a lot of them. Lauren uses 20 to 27.
I had to learn 27 in the first month.
Yeah, she threw 3 at me this morning, everybody. And so far I haven't broken any of them. So I'm feeling good. Feeling good about my contribution here. But it's going to keep coming. And like I said, changing your mindset about how you receive change to be as excited and positively focused as changes that you instigate is going to be critical to your success and your happiness, because it's coming.
It's coming. And so one of the areas that you personally are embarking on is a lot of change in your career.
Yes.
And so and Robin, thank you, Robin Merle, for helping us all deal with the topic of involuntary exits, because many people that are here and many chiefs, many viewers, they're in a state of transition. Mm-hmm. And it feels like somebody, pulled the tablecloth off the table and everything is flying. And so as this has happened to me and as this has happened to other people, including yourself, what are your workarounds to center yourself mm-hmm. in the storm of change? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's happening so fast that it's past the tipping point and it's very hard to put some stability and footing into place. Even though we're not necessarily resistant, we just can't keep up with the barrage.
I think it goes back to building that muscle, right? Back to that change-oriented muscle. Make sure that you look at the positive framework of any change that comes at you, right? I do agree. Robin is a phenomenal resource to a lot of people and to a lot of chiefs. I happen to do an incredible amount of networking and talk to a lot of people who are in a change place right now. It's my sense that here in 2023, we're walking into this new year. We're more than halfway through the first quarter, which seems absolutely crazy to me. But we're walking into this year and so many people are ready and poised and kind of at the starting line, revving their engine to take control or to do what they want to do now, both organizations and individuals alike, versus the last 2.5 years where we really have been in more reactionary mode. Right. And it is a different way. People are excited now to embark on change. They're excited to lead change. They're excited for something different that's coming, either a big group of people or for them individually, versus being reactionary, which I think is where we've been. it seems to me like there's an incredibly positive vibe in the air right now that
Yes,
people are ready to go. Change
I
should be
agree.
intentional. I see that one. I like that.
I love this. Change should be intentional. Sometimes it's a surprise, right? So it's hard to have both, but I do love this. People fight it hard when they don't see the point. So like, why are you doing this? Examine your motives is another way of saying that. Be happy about the change and stay positive about future possibilities. I personally just went through a serious change, and that's what kept me from being super depressed, right? Like sometimes the best part about change is you can't see it happening, but you're actually, and I always struggle with this, because when I say transformation, I'm not talking about some woo-woo thing. I'm talking about the person that you were over here is turning into somebody else because of that change. That change is another way of stretching us, redeveloping ourselves, creating more dimensions, right? When we were, just doing things this way, it makes for kind of a limited scope of person.
Absolutely.
And now we have all these different things that we get to explore and taste, almost like a banquet. And so I think it is really exciting. And I think that a lot of this, to your point, is flipping the script. And I had somebody, it was somebody's about section. His name is Stephen Gates. He's an amazing guy, but it was instilled upon him that discomfort is the cost or the price of fulfillment.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that staying in the comfort zone, we talk about this all the time. It kind of becomes very cliche, be uncomfortable, get uncomfortable, or how does it go, Amy?
Comfort is the enemy of progress. I do know that. So progress won't be made if you're in a comfortable place.
You can't have both. You can't have the desire for that outcome and then dig your heels in and say, well, I don't want to change, because those two things just simply don't work.
Yes. And just to answer that one point that I don't know who it was that made it, change is going to make sense. I think where a lot of organizations maybe don't take into consideration is they're not involving all the people in the change, or they're not explaining it accurately. No change handed down from on high is going to feel comfortable for the people that need to execute. And so making sure they're involved, like I said earlier, we all do need in an organization to row the boat in the same direction, but make sure you have your rowers talking about what they're doing the way they're doing it before you roll a change out. And like I said, the pace of change is about to get heightened. I mean, you can fight it, but you might find yourself on the outs, right? On the outskirts of people who are embracing it. And that's when it really does become, I think, dangerous to your health and to your career and to your success, is to take it from a negative viewpoint, flip it. Be positive.
There you go.
Get uncomfortable. That's right.
Oh, thank you, Alicia. And eyes, hearts, minds wide open. The journey to anything great change is a wide road with intention detached from the outcome. I know it was Gandhi who said, "Be the change."
Be the change.
Be the change that you want to see. And oftentimes I talk about being the example.
Yeah.
You can't. Change isn't out here. Change
is
you
in
are,
here.
and that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that you're here.
Thanks.
Because this isn't a conversation that you're talking about without demonstrating it for yourself. And so please, everybody, follow Amy.
Yeah.
And not only get inspired, I don't want you to stop there.
Yeah. Come on over to the corner. You can DM me.
To the corner.
You can find me here on LinkedIn. Scarily, you can now find me on TikTok also at Horner's Corner. I have gone over to the dark side, persuaded by some of my Gen Z friends that I needed to expand my horizons past LinkedIn. And you can always DM me. I'm happy to talk about change and how you can better prepare yourself to go after it instead of receiving it all the time.
Yes. So challenged with changes,
Mhm.
reach out to Amy. However, here's the caveat. All right. There's no whining,
Oh,
right?
no whining.
No whining. If you are ready for the change and need a support, reach out to her on LinkedIn. This is a great accountability person. I mean, honestly, that's where I go. So appreciate you so much, Amy.
Thank
So
you.
much, Amy, and everything that you do for so many women. Super, super generous. And yeah, I don't mind being your wing woman when you know you're going on your next world tour.
I love it. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everybody. It was wonderful
Yeah,
to be
and thank
here.
you. And everybody, thank you for participating here, and go get it. Let us know how it goes. All right.
See ya.